What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. You know who it is. It's the dad bod god, the bald, the beard, and the fucking beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight I've got two very special guests, and I've got a co-host joining me, a former guest of the show, Robbie, the original Greaser Zucco. Thank you for joining me this evening, Mr. Zucco.
No worries. Thank you for having me. I'm actually extremely excited to help out and interview this next guest. It's going to be quite a treat. He's a mentor of mine. He's a hell of a worker. And Terry Taylor once said, "This guy is probably the most unused talent WCW had at that time."
Really?
So this is going to be one hell of a treat.
Because he was there, in the late 90s, like 99, 2000, I believe.
Yeah, and he'll tell you more about it too.
100%. But we are going to be having on the show the one and only Bobby Blaze, and I'm excited to be having Bobby on. But before we get into that, we do have to take a quick second to thank one of our amazing sponsors that help us keep the lights going up in this bitch every single week, and that is Sleefs.com. Now, Sleefs, that's SLEEFS. If you or someone you know is an athlete, you need to check out Sleefs.com. They've got all your athletic gear and clothing covered. They've got armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, headbands, boots, mouth guards, and they've even got those dirty boxes that you always hear me raving about. I don't wear any other boxes anymore. All I wear are dirty boxes. These boxes stay dry, they stay fresh, and they've got funky designs on the front. So when the belt buckle comes undone at the end of the night, you know what I'm saying? Mrs. Austin has something to laugh on what's on the front of the boxes, not what's inside them. I know, bad dick joke, I'm sorry. But check out Sleeves.com. Check out some of those dirty boxes. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. Also, guys, wherever you are finding us, I appreciate it. We appreciate you joining us. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if you will. If you're finding us on a podcast platform, please give us a 5-star review. It helps us out. It helps us take our analytics to the next level, which helps us reach more amazing people and have more amazing conversations like the one we're about to have this evening. Whew. Mr. Zucco, I'm excited, and I think it's time.
I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Well, let's get into our conversation with Bobby fucking Blaze. Boom, we're live, gentlemen. What's going on? Good evening, good morning.
Good morning, and that's Bobby motherfucking Blaze. It's a pleasure to be here, man. Piers, thanks for having me on. Robbie, what the fuck, man? It's been forever, brother. Good to see your smiling face. You're looking as handsome as ever. Come over here and got all that American pussy he could get for he took it back home. He was getting it every damn night, man. I'm telling you, he's the man.
Well, I definitely miss you, that's for sure. I definitely miss you
too, man. And Piers,
and your humor.
Yeah, well, and thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it very much.
The pleasure's all ours, Bobby. Thank you for joining us. You know, when I had the Robbie message me and asked me if I'd be interested in having you on, I straight away jumped at it, and I remembered you from WCW because I was, late teens, early 20s during the tail end of WCW. And I remember seeing you, in matches, and you wrestled some of like the who's who really on the WCW roster at the time. But before we get into that, like, how have you been lately? Like, how's everything going after all the years in the ring? How's your health at the moment?
Oh man, other than my body being more fucked up than a can of fishing worms, my mind, sometimes, a couple concussions, things be get foggy, but also I'm, getting a little bit older. But yeah, I'm holding up okay, man. I just not gonna sit here and bitch, piss, and moan because that's the path I chose, And I appreciate you asking. I won't go into great detail how I am physically. I still get around. I still try to go to the gym a couple of days a week, try to do more cardio than anything. All those weights, all those years moving them is just tough on your body. But there's been a resurgence, if you will, in my area, actually across the U.S., of a lot of independent scene that's really hopping and popping right now, believe it or not. And so I want to give a couple shout outs. One to Time Warp, which is a memorabilia place that does all kinds of cards and video games and consoles and all that. And the reason I say it because Earl, the gentleman, owns the place, and I know we're worldwide, and no one's just come to Ashland, Kentucky, where I'm at, except for maybe the original greaser over there. He comes down, that was cool. But you're welcome here anyway. I wanted to send it because they've been bringing in top talent and putting them on all these trade shows as well as FTC, and that's my home company. That's failure to conform. Imagine that. But we had 3 bookings this week, and I've got one tomorrow morning. I'm leaving a couple hours down the road here. Most of the stuff I'm doing right now is just within about a 2-hour drive where I'm at in the southeastern part of the United States. I'm in Kentucky. I'm on the tip of West Virginia and borders of Ohio, Tennessee, Virginia. So right in that area, man, immediate they've just been having trade shows, a lot of independent shows. And most of these independent shows that I go to, I won't say most, I don't go to all of them. I used to go to one show every other month before COVID, and I'd flip back which company I'd go and see because I didn't get out a lot. And then when COVID hit, what happened is I sit there and I was looking at my couch and sitting in my chair going, there's not a fucking thing happening here. If I ever they unlock us, whatever, let us go out, whatever. I said, man, I'm getting back out into the world, and I'm going to do something I like and pay back or pay it forward, if you will, and get back to helping out in wrestling. And that's what's happened. That's why I mentioned those two, Joe from FTC and Earl from Time Warp, because they've included me and said, Bobby, man, people want to see you. And I was at a show scouting some students, and I was like, people can see me. I'm in town. I go to the gas station, the store, and a beer store. So if you want to see me, that's where I'm at, And I was joking about it. He goes, no, really, people come in my store, and we're having all these wrestling meet and greets, and people do want to see you. And I was like, well, okay. I didn't know how serious he was. So he booked me, and it was really turned out great. A lot of local people came to see me, get my autograph, check my books, all that stuff. We'll talk about that later. But long story short, man, it's just been a popping summer here for us, 2 and 3 times a week. Again, I'm just going locally. I'm not traveling really far. Now, I will be traveling to WrestleCade in November down in North Carolina, and that'll be my farthest trip. And I haven't been there for like 5 years, but I'm really looking forward to going back to WrestleCade. So if anyone's going to WrestleCade, come up and say hello to me and let me know that you saw me on the program here. But that's going on in my world right now, man.
You mentioned, getting back out and being around shows and giving back to the business. How much of it has re-sparked that passion for the business in you, being around the next generations of talent that are coming up on the indies in that area?
Oh, 90%, man. I would say 100, but some days I'm like, I have a hard time getting up and going like, God damn, I got to go do this again, got to do that. But no, and that's just sitting in the car for a couple hours or, knowing you got to do this or do that. But no, it's, I've got some students that are doing very, very good. As Robbie can tell you, man, I can teach you more. He learned so much just from sitting on a couch listening to me every night. And I tell the students at the gym, I could teach you more in the back of a car than I can in that ring. I could teach you more at the show if you'll sit your ass down right here, look through that curtain, and listen to what I'm telling you. And my students get a kick out of this. And I have we've got about 12 consistent people right now that are doing pretty good, but I've got 3 that have done very, very good. And they basically, they start laughing. They say, that's the Bobby Blaze I know. And I say, I'm not telling you because I know this. I'm telling you because I fucking know what the fuck I'm talking about, you know? And so when I tell them to look for something,
100%.
they understand that. I'm like, that's why you do the small things. And so it sparked an interest in me. So 100%, I should say, in my students. And also I do meet when I go to these shows and I'm seeing friends that I haven't seen for years, or I'm seeing other up and comers that are, you know, wrestling in the first 2 or 3 matches, say, oh, my trainer so-and-so, and he told me to come and introduce myself to you. Would you watch my match? That means a lot too. And so when someone, for example, Ricky Morton's son, Kerry, he came up to me about a year ago and he said, Bobby, would you make sure you watch my match tonight? And I, absolutely, you know, so things like that mean a lot to me as well, because I know someone like that takes it to heart, you know. So yes, exciting. I want to see everyone do good. Try to pay it forward. That's my Instagram, is I try to pay stuff forward. You know, same thing with my Twitter. I'm at Bobby Blaze 744. And I just try to keep everything as positive as I can, because I've been to the dark places. Robbie knows my brother Jim. And one time we was at a hotel room and something happened out on the street, and this chick come by and she rolled down her window and I'm looking at her, we're making eye contact. And I'm like, this is up in Baltimore, just so you know, Robbie. So Robbie's been to Baltimore. I wouldn't even mention the fucking ship up there, Jack.
Oh, God.
But anyway, so this chick, she like rolls down her window, blah, blah. I'm like, oh man. So she says, are you going down that street right there? Well, we're getting ready to turn left, but they're going straight. And I said, yeah, we're going. She goes, you're going to like it down there. Well, we turned right into the hotel parking lot, went to a room, and I opened, we're like 12th floor or something, opened the window, that little space they give you. And I'm looking out there. I said, Jim, I said, I know what's down that fucking street. I have been down that street before. You know what's down that street? The devil. That's who lives down that street. The devil lives down there. I said, I'm not going there again, man. I had been there before, you know. And so I knew if I'd have followed that chick, you know, something was going to happen, and I probably would have been missing a kidney, or fucking got dead, or carjacked, or maybe the best piece of pussy I ever got in my life. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, I know what's down at the end of that street, man. A lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, a lot of fucking rape, murder, all that shit. I try not to go down those streets anymore, Piers.
Yeah, I know.
I
I
try
don't
to stay on my
blame you.
own. I've got enough to deal with here. I'm staying on my own fucking path, Jack. I don't need to be led astray, you know.
100%. But I think as well, like the years that you sort of broke into the wrestling business as well was kind of like the Wild West, right? Like it was kind of like, so the crazy shit that you would have seen from there, I think, is like probably where you're at now in life. You're just like, I'm fucking smartened up to a lot of shit. Like you can see work, right?
It's unreal. The first, you know, I broke in, did a bunch of shows here in Kentucky, about 15 or so over about a 4 or 5 month period of time, a couple shows a month. But then I went to Tampa, Florida, and lived in Orlando. Then I went to Tampa and started training, you know, with the Malenkos and stuff. But then as I got matches, and then I went full time way back in 91, and first tour was up in Canada. And it was for 18 weeks, 7 nights a week, twice on Sundays. And I think of all this shit I'm seeing and learning from the back of this car, man, you know. And nowadays when I'm driving, I usually try to ride with someone, especially if I have to travel at night. But when I'm traveling by myself and I'm sitting there riding like I did Thursday, I had a double shot. God damn it, wait a minute. My days were mixed up. I thought Wednesday all day was Thursday until Thursday night about 10 o'clock when someone smart me up and said, you know, today is Wednesday, don't you? And I like, fuck, because you don't get a middle of the week gig sometimes. We had a double shot on a Wednesday. It just fucked me right up. But anyway, coming home from about an hour from up in Charleston. Once again, Robbie knows Charleston. So I'm driving that highway, Rob, and I'm just going like, thinking about all the fucking miles and thinking about, oh, this can happen, that can happen, all the crazy shit you see. But I just had that time. And then I'm like decompressing from the meet and greet, the convention we were at. And I walk into a county fair and I'm like, fuck, it's a whole different atmosphere, you know, like now you got this crowd to deal with. And I was just sitting there trying to, you know, make sure the matches got out for the committee, for the fair committee that paid for the show. And then also make sure the wrestlers that we had were like, do this, get this much time in. And you're like, whew, like I said, at 10 o'clock at night, someone said, Bobby, you do know it's Wednesday, right? And I'm like, not until you just now told me. So your mind, it's a good thing. And then today I was looking forward to this. I was like, oh shit, I got like 5 things this week involving wrestling, and this podcast was one of them. Then tomorrow I'm right back. I'm going a couple hours down the road and got a big wrestling toy convention, and it's just like, holy shit, man. And we're going to an area tomorrow where Smokey Mountain was very strong at. So I'm really looking forward to probably seeing a lot of people I hadn't seen for quite a long time. And it's in the hills of Kentucky. It's the, believe it or not, it's the place where they bury bodies on the side of the hill, like standing up.
Wow.
So it's so hilly. And that's one of the counties. Yeah. It's one of the counties that Jericho mentioned in his first book. And then Bruiser Bedlam used to talk about it. Like you're going down through it's a fucking mountain. So the bodies are like, dropped in. And it's just crazy. But hell, those people are wrestling fans.
We never went there, Bob, did we?
No, we didn't go that far. No, we didn't go that far. It's further south. No, it's further south. I don't think you went much further than here as far as going south, as far as in the state of Kentucky. So it's just one of those crazy things. You're like, oh shit. I dated this girl from Canada many years ago, and she couldn't believe we was out in Louisiana. And I was like, they fucking bury people on top of the ground out there. And she's like trying to argue with myself. Well, fucking people float away. This is way back when. Like they have to put them in vaults, and so there's people. Fuck it, I don't know. I'm just saying, burying people sideways, upside down, whatever. I don't know. It's just that's how far back we're going. They pump sunlight in there for 3 hours a day. So
definitely.
Yeah.
You mentioned training with the Malenkos, Boris and Dean Malenko.
Yeah.
Did they break you into the business, or were you trained like earlier before that?
I kind of got smartened up to the business because I was such a fan of the business and around it. Started setting the rings up at 15 years old and try to get into every show in this area that I could. And so I was a little bit smartened up, and I met a guy named Rick Newsom at a local independent show. And I had already been sending out feelers for wrestling schools. And I had actually went to the Monster Factory in New Jersey for like 2 days, just this little tryout thing. And I'd been in contact with the Malenkos, or the person that was taking their mail at the time. And this is back in snail mail. But so a guy said he would train me. And it was very limited training, but he was working some independent shows about once or twice a month, like I mentioned. And he started taking me some shows, and we would have just, I guess you'd call it a hardcore match now, but it was mostly a street fight in the ring. So we was fighting each other, not like a shoot, but not like a work. Cause like, I'm going to headbutt you. I'm like, no, you're not, like fighting each other, but just not like punching each other in the face or kicking each other in nuts or something. I had about 12 or 15 of those matches, and where I'm going tomorrow, Pikeville, Kentucky, someone didn't show up. I'd worked the third match, done my little thing with Rick and a little street fight type thing. Cause we just wrestled and fought. And anyway, someone didn't show up, but it was, Buddy Landell was in the locker room, the heel locker room. And it was Hector Guerrero as Lasertron and Handsome Jimmy Valiant or Boogie Woogie. And the promoter come in. So, what am I going to do? And Buddy said, put that boy right there with me. At the time, my hair was pretty much like Buddy's and tanned. And so I said, what do you want me to do? He goes, just listen to me. Well, when I got out there on the ring apron and I started watching them, I realized these fucking guys, this is called working. And I said, I got to go somewhere. And the guy I was working with, training with, like I said, he said, man, you have bigger aspirations than the rest of these little shows that are around here, and you need to get out of here and do, if this is what you want to do for your life, you really need to. So that's when I packed my bags and moved to Tampa, Florida, and I had been to Orlando before, and I'd seen a sign that said like Tampa 90 miles or something. Well, I knew a couple bartenders that could, who was all young, and they had a spare bedroom. And, when you're young like that, you're looking for roommates to board up with, to help the cost and stuff. I saw if I could get to Orlando, I could probably travel to Tampa at least on the weekends. And that's what I did for about 4 months. Did a room opened up in Tampa, and I moved on down where the Malenko camp was at, man. And from there, I just went 4 days a week, every time the doors were open, 4 days a week, 3 and 4 hours a day, and absorbed everything. For the first 4 months, it was just Larry or Boris and myself. And another guy, Rico, that used to be a partner of mine. We was the ones really accelerating in that class. And Dean at the time had been going to Japan. And Joe would come by every once in a while at that point. But anyway, Dean came back after about 4 months. He pulled me aside and said, listen, Dad wants me to start working with you. He's told me a little bit about you, blah, blah. And the same thing with Rico. So I kind of had some more that started. I was getting too, I won't say getting too good, but I was getting to where I needed to advance. And Dean come in and took over those going, try this, do this, do that. And with that Japanese influence and then his influence is like, oh, man, this is learning to work, you know. So, and just being around the guys that came through there were so many people, you know, just get off a plane or drive down like I did, and they're coming from all over the world to train with the Malenko. So I could be 3 and 4 times a night be in a ring with different people from all over the U.S. just in that one training facility, you know. Gave me a lot of experience, even when I started having matches with them in the Florida area. So, yeah, a lot of good memories, a lot of good times. I was speaking to, I think, a future guest of yours, Mark Mercedes. I don't know if you ever heard of that guy or not.
I know him quite well. I've had him on the show a couple of times. Okay,
well, when I was in Tampa, I had lived there a couple of different times. I lived there that first time I stayed there about almost a year. Then I went out and I toured Canada a couple of times. I went to South Africa, blah, blah, blah. Well, one day, these 2 guys get off the plane. We go to meet the plane, take them out, and one of them's Mark Mercedes. And so the point of my story is I was in Tampa the day Mark Mercedes turned 21 years old. You'll have to ask about his birthday in Tampa at 21. I didn't go out with him that night, but I think he went out on his own, you know. So you'll have to ask him about that. But so I knew him, and the other boy was Greg Smith, and from there, you know, they opened up a tour over in Australia, and I got to come and visit your fine country and your fine fans over there, man, and the people. I mean, I fell in love. You got a beautiful country, but man, you know,
was
beautiful
that Riot,
people. Yeah, Wrestle Riot '93, the first tour, and so yeah, I met Sue Shooter.
Yep.
In fact, there was an article, I guess, about the ring rats and stuff in about '98, and I guess I'm the last American, you know, that international star, if you will, with one Miss Sue Shooter. And hello, Sue, if you're listening, still a fan right here. But for those that must know, I'm just saying, blowjobs don't fucking count, guys. You know, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. She put it out there. I'm just saying. But yeah, and someone when she came over, I can't remember if it was WrestleMania a few years ago or some WrestleCon, whatever. She was back here and happened to be a friend of mine that I know that does the T-shirts and stuff for me and a lot of other wrestlers. And he took some pictures and sent them, and it was him and Sue, and she was doing all the gimmicks with the licking and it's funny. We was he handed her the phone and we was typing. I said, "It's good to see you again," and because she's such a fan, we need fans like that, you know. So yeah, that's one of the finer points of my Australian tour as well. You know, so yeah, a lot of we had a great tour that year there. I loved it, man. And of course through there, you know, I got to meet several Australians and was snail mail with some people and this and that. And then got to meet this young man here with you. He got to come over and stayed at my house for like 2 weeks, 2 months. He was like family for like 2 months. He had a couch. He had a couch. That's all, you know. But and
I'm still laughing to this day. I bet he hasn't stopped making me laugh. So,
and I tell people, man, and I appreciate the compliments when he says I was a mentor, helped him out. You know, the thing is, like, we became friends, but also like I had a ring at the time and had a little training school back then as well. And I took him to the gym. We had a little private gym we was going to. You just couldn't kill this guy. He had these great legs too, I guess, from the rugby. And man, he just would kill. I was like, man, I took him to the ring. You couldn't stretch him. He wouldn't quit. And he just like, oh man, he got to go and wrestle some shows with my brother and also with Carl the Dark Shadow and do some stuff. And I was like, man, just like, again, every night though, we were so happy. We just sit down, my family, you know, go to bed, retire early, whatever. And I just I don't know, sometimes have beer, maybe not, probably more than not, but we're sitting there and just talking, man, and just talking to business.
Absolutely.
For
Learned
you,
way
Robbie,
too much on that couch. Learned way too much on that couch, which is
Yeah.
great. It smartened me up. I
Yeah.
went there knowing just moves, and
Yeah.
then when I came back, I knew how to work, and that was just listening to whatever Bob said. So it was an honor, that's for sure.
and that's what I was just going to say, like how much of that, like, you said that, Bobby's been a mentor to you, Robbie, since then, and,
It still is. Still is.
Thank you.
Yeah, and what you're able to sit there and learn and bring back and teach other workers here.
Yeah.
Like I was speaking to a wrestler who's been a veteran for 22 years in this country, and he said that Robbie gave him a bit of advice, and the advice was because he turned up injured and he was in a moon boot and he was planning on wrestling, and he goes, and he said, I've got to wrestle these 5 matches coming up, and Robbie said, you could wrestle these 5 matches now while you're injured and they'll be okay, or you could heal and wrestle these 5 matches and have good matches. And it sort of put like the common sense factor into it, you know what I mean? Where it's like, take the ego out of it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's probably an important lesson that a lot of people need to sort of adhere to,
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I'll throw this out. This kind of odd, again, an Australian reference though. We were flipping through TV one time, and I had this independent film channel or some whatever, and Rob says, "Oh man, Chopper, let's watch this." Well, I didn't know who Chopper was, and I said, "Oh fuck, man, I ain't watching no teens getting fucking slashed and this and that." I said, "God damn it!" I said, "Turn the channel, let's move on to something else." And he was like, "No," and he started telling me who Mark Chopper Reed was, right? And I'm like, "Not tonight, okay?" And I have read every Chopper book he wrote. I owned the film on DVD, but that one night I just was like, in my mind, I was thinking, oh, it's probably some teen slasher movie, Chopper, and he turned me on, smartened me up to Australia's most notorious criminal, and so I became a fan of his. No, I didn't write any fucking fan mail letters or nothing like that, turn up as an American, homosexual backpacker or something. But I bought all his books. I've read them, and I know he's no longer with us and what have you, but it's just one of those things like, you get worldly smartened up through that travel stuff you can't learn in books. It's like the same thing. You can go and I can say, Robert, we're going to lock up. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. No, and I just told some students this the other day. I got one guy, he had been somewhere else training and I won't mention his very well-known facility. But he's just young, he's 21 years old. And he said something. He was kind of calling a match, and I'm watching him. He goes, heels always get up first when it's like a double knockout. I don't know where the fuck he learned this at, but anyway, nonetheless, I pulled him to the side and I said, here's the thing. I said, you're going to learn something one way and be a cookie cutter fucking wrestler. Or you can listen to me, and also a good friend of mine, he's been helping his son, Bobby Fulton. I still stay in contact with him from Fantastics. And I said, you can listen to Bobby and me because we've traveled the world. And I've been to Australia, I've been to England, been all over Canada, South Africa. I said, no, you got to learn to listen to that crowd and play off of it. And who's going to get up first? There's an important reason. If I say every time, Robbie, I'm going to get up first. I'm going to get up first. Well, that might not be the case when we do a double down and they're cheering for me. And I was like, but he's, opposite rather. They're cheering for him, and I'm saying like he'll get up first, and I jump up real quick. It means no sense because they're cheering for him. You know what I'm saying? So during that spot, when it does happen, and they're cheering for the fucking original greaser over there, and I pop up, well, that kills it. So I just in the match like, fuck, I'm staying down. Get up, brother. Get up. And so it's not always the same. Like I just see it. I'm not knocking. There's so many good, talented athletes that I see, and I don't watch a lot of the WWE or TNA. I don't, we was up there the other day, AEW was in town while we were having that little mini convention. And I just don't watch a lot of things unless someone says, hey, watch this match or check this out. Great talent, great bodies, great athletes and stuff. But I see cookie cutter, do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. And I'm like, well, when you're out here working and it can be done many different ways. And when those people pay for a seat maybe they don't want to see the same cookie cutter bullshit. They want to see something different. And if they've
100%.
paid their money to come and see pro wrestling, then give them fucking professional wrestling, and give them not just when they paid, let's just say $8 for a folding chair in the front row. No, give them fucking everything you've got. Make sure they got every penny that they earned. Sometimes these people nowadays, I said $8 a share. You know, I was just talking to someone the other day about that show. You go there, you're looking at a minimum $25 ticket. Now, you get off work early. Maybe you and your spouse and children or whatever decide to have dinner before the show, or you have to get a setter. I mean, you're out a couple $100. That's if you take kids, you're out more. So them fucking fans pay for that. You better damn sure give them every bit of their money's worth and then some. And that's the way I feel, you know. So.
I find anytime I turn on AEW, and I've tried every few months, and I see something so ridiculously dumb that I just go, I'm done. That's insulting my intelligence. I can't watch anymore. And I usually get about 5 minutes in. That's the longest I've spent on an AEW show.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, I got told by someone who is a worker who was backstage at an AEW show. And mind you, AEW, you look at the veterans they got there: Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Taz, Jim Ross, Jake the Snake Roberts. And I got told that all of these veterans that they have, no one, maybe one or two of the roster would go up to these veterans and go, "Hey, what do you think of my match? Can you give me some advice?" Exactly. And I got told that Jake Roberts went up to one of the performers on their roster and said, "Hey, I think you could do this different." And they just said, "I'm going to stop you there. I don't give a shit about your advice. I'm already signed," and walked off.
That's terrible. Terrible attitude. And it doesn't surprise me, though. It really doesn't.
Different, eh, Bob?
Totally different.
Yeah. Used to be,
yeah, absolutely. I when I was talking about sit down, watch this, look through the curtain. When I was way back with Smokey Mountain, shortly after coming back from Australia, I got signed with Smokey Mountain, and old timer Sandy Scott, he was basically a road agent, and it was him and Jim and Brian, Mark Curtis, you know, those are the main ones. And I was watching that work first match or second match, what it was. And I was watching out the curtain, and Sandy Scott came to me and said, "What are you doing, kid?" And I just looked at him, and I was being honest. I said, "I'm doing my homework." And he said, "Exactly." And I wasn't backstage fucking off or anything, but every night he had watched me. And people would come to me, and Robert Gibson or Ricky Morton would say, "Bobby," I remember Ricky specifically coming to me one time in Johnson City, Tennessee. He said, "Bobby, come here for a second." And he said, "Watch how I sell." And I told him, I see these guys. I'm going to see them again. I did a special referee spot with them about 2 months ago, again, somewhere in West Virginia. And it was Rock Row Express against Mr. Hughes and someone. And anyway, I was a special referee, whatever. So I still see these guys and talk to them. But I told Ricky then, I was telling the locker room, basically, just the locker room talk to these young guys. Ricky came to me and said, "Bobby, watch how I sell." Well, the way he said it, I knew it probably came from Cornette. I knew they had planned for me. So I watched Ricky sell because I knew I was an upcoming babyface. You know, who better learn from to sell than watching Ricky Morton? I was already watching, but I started watching closer, you know. I roomed with Robert a couple of times at that time. We're all traveling together. And he said, you know, Tony Anthony at the time, he goes, "I don't think Tony's giving you enough in a match. It'd mean more if you got more in the match." And I said, "Well, I let him call it. He's the heel, whatever." He goes, "Well, I'm going to speak to him or Jimmy." And so the next night, believe it or not, you know, I'm out there, and Tony started calling me more spots. Well, what happened was when I got those couple little more spots, the match meant that much more. And it wasn't because Tony was trying to just eat me up or whatever. It was just like he was a little bit leery, you know, about, oh, do I want to give his kid this much? But when he gave it to me, that little bit more, you know, it meant more to our match, and it built from there. And it taught me to learn to work, you know. And also what I took a young girl last year. She's doing really good. I took her to a big show, and a couple of us rode up together, and her specifically, I pulled her to the side and said, this, and this, and then watch. And then I explained to her in the back on the way home, I was like, and I just told this to a couple of young guys just the other night on Wednesday. Again, my nights are messed up, but I pulled them to the side and said, listen, I don't like to mention all these names, because if I leave one student out, they're saying, he's talking about that person, whatever. Yeah. But I pulled a couple guys to the side. I said, listen, and they knew the girl I referenced her. I said, here's the thing. I said, this business, here's what I'm getting at. Now that I went around the fucking world to fucking cross the sidewalk or whatever. But anyway, my point being, this business is more than headlocks and hammerlocks, okay? Sure, you can learn how to do a headlock, how to do a hammerlock, whatever. But also, when you're in that locker room, how do you present yourself? Are you being seen as a professional? Are you back there jacking off, goofing off, flirting, whatever the fuck you're doing? Or when you come into the building, are you dressed halfway decent that people, see you like, oh, this guy, he presents, or this girl, they present themselves professionally. And then sure, you can do all these moves, but also, how did that match make sense? Did it draw the people in? Did you have a big finish? All those things. And then afterwards, dealing with the promoter to where when he goes to pay you, and it's like, I'd love to have you back. This, and the last two shows that we've done for FTC, the county fair committees, that the ones that, purchase the entertainment for those fairs, if the rides and the rock and roll and a country, whatever acts they have, and they add wrestling on that for that 2 or 3 days they're in town, and the fair committee comes to you and says, man, that's a great show. Plan on being here again next year. That's a good feeling, because the fans were pleased, and also the people that are paying you for your services, they're pleased. But if they see a bunch of jackoffs over there and then a bunch of nonsense wrestling in the ring, it doesn't make any fucking sense, they're not going to have you back, because the fans aren't going to want to come back and see that, and they don't want to see it. That I paid fucking X amount of dollars for y'all to come in here and entertain these people, but we're doing professional wrestling still. Just saying, it's more than headlocks and hammerlocks. It's using your brain, using your skills, and now let me get over in the ring. I'll show you how to get over in the ring, but also outside the ring, just listen to me. Shake everyone's hand when you first come to the building. Absolutely. Because that man over there that's sweeping, hell, he might just be sweeping the ring out for you. He might be the best fucking worker on the show that you never even heard of before. The custodians, to the people selling tickets, to the people selling hot dogs, all those people make it worth your while. I always thank them, not maybe individually, but over the PA or what have you. If I see someone in person, the custodian or whoever, I'm like, man, thanks for having us out here. And they're usually going, wow, that first match, or they'll tell me something. I'm like, see, that's why you listen, pay attention, to what your surroundings are. And doesn't take anything to be nice to people. You can be an asshole. You have to sometimes think about, what am I going to do? What am I going to say if you're trying to be an asshole? But when you're being nice, you don't have to do it. You have to say, what am I going to say? What am I going to think? No, you just automatically go, hey, man, how you doing? Good to see you. How's your day today? Well, I'll see you out in the ring, okay? Or what have you. Or we'll talk later. And, give them a handshake, and then later on. And I just told these two girls the other day, one girl's a nurse, and she got there right when I did. And they got in the locker room, and the other girl come up to her and said, blah, blah, blah. I was like, hello. I said, fuck, I'm out on the highway somewhere. I'm still out on I-64 traveling. My kidneys are out there somewhere. Let me take a fucking piss. She just got off work. I don't know what she dealt with for the last fucking 12 hours. I said, chill out. This show's not starting for another hour and a half. Let her collect herself. Let me collect then I'll agent your match for you. But some people do, and you're like, no, let me decompress. Some people drove 3 or 4 hours to get to you. Then let's sit down. If you want to work out the match, that's fine. But as soon as you jump in a building, like, no, give everyone time to let me put my fucking bag down. Chill out. We're going to have a good match, But those are lessons because they're young and they're eager. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, again, it's more the headlocks and hammerlocks. She don't know where you came from. You don't know what she's dealt with that last 12-hour nursing shift. Chill out, say hello, then come back, say, we're working together tonight. Hey, Robbie, we're working together tonight. I just drove in. Give me a half a minute. I'm going to take a hot piss, put my bag down. I'll get with you in just a minute. And he's sitting there having a coffee or what have you. And like, yeah, okay, mate, and then you come back and like, hey, what do you want to do? What can you do? And I always like that. Now back to the WCW thing, I will say with where I was at on the card, and I appreciate the compliment that Terry Taylor gave me. Paul Warndorf gave me several really good compliments. Most of the best compliments I got came from Arn Anderson, and I got to see him back in May, and it was a real pleasure. But he talked about me and my professionalism, and I appreciate that because I have a lot of respect for Arn. But my point being, when they put me with someone most of the time, and hey, what do you do? Bobby Eaton, for example. Yeah. What do you do best? Think of a couple things. I'll think of a couple things. We'll come back in a few minutes. Let's put it together. And just get 2 or 3 ideas, and you go out there and go, okay, let's rock and roll, and have a good match. And it's called on the fly, but knowing I know what he does and can do good. He knows what I can do and make him look good, and it makes for a much better match like that. No ego, just work,
Absolutely. I want to go back a bit. We're talking about Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and you had a feud with a man who I've been a massive admirer of this person's body of work, Chris Candido.
I knew you was going to say that.
Oh, wow.
to me, Chris Candido is one of the most underrated performers of all time. You know what I mean? Like, just to be honest, I think he was an amazing worker. What was your experience in working with Chris?
Absolutely great. Fantastic. Probably, and I say this, he's probably my all-time favorite opponent. There's a book out by John Coster and John Cosper, and it's about Chris Candido, No Gimmicks Needed. And Johnny Candido, Chris's brother's in it. And I've spoken to both of them since then. Johnny and I speak quite a bit, but I see John at these shows because he sells a lot of books, being an author. He's got several wrestling books. And he referenced everything I wrote and pinned me, paid me in my book, the whole story from the time Chris Candido showed up at Smoky Mountain until his passing. John used my story in his book, and I'm thankful for that because it's word of mouth. I loved Chris, and I'll tell you what happened is I was in Knoxville on a Sunday afternoon show, and Jimmy had told me he had someone in mind for me to come that's going to be coming in and work with me soon. Told me his name. I was like, okay, I didn't know his name, but I was like, okay, sure. So we was on a Sunday afternoon show, and I was in the back, and Chris Candido came right to me. He had been over working in Memphis. He had 2 more weeks left over there. And he came up and he said, hey, Bobby Blaze, I've been looking for you. He goes, I'm Chris Candido. How are you? And he goes, I understand. I say, I understand we're working together. And we started off right there, and it just clicked. And he had all these ideas, and I had all these ideas, and we just put them together, and it worked. I loved working with him. He was a lot stronger than what people thought he was. Man, that fucker was strong. But he was only about 5'7", 5'8", maybe. So I towered over him, but he was so muscular, and it just worked. And we did a junior heavyweight title, the U.S. junior heavyweight title belt, for several weeks, or several months, actually, back and forth. We even had turkey title, tarred and feathered. I mean, Jimmy turned it into a whole program. And Cornette, I remember specifically came in one night, and there were some other guys from WWF at the time, tag teams and this and that, and some guys he's used, and he said, I guess some guys had said something about us doing too much in like 3rd and 4th matches, and Jimmy just said, hey, I don't care whatever the fuck they say. He goes, I want you to go out there and tear the house down and just keep doing that. And so we did it, yes. And I've heard Jimmy on his podcast, which really makes me feel good because a lot of times, and I listen to his podcast, but a lot of times if someone immediately hit me up and said, Bobby, Jimmy mentioned you on the podcast, I feel great about that. But he was talking, and someone had called in about Chris, and Jimmy made a reference about people doing crazy spots, high spots, flying. Well, Chris and I used to do this one spot where one of us would drape the other across the rope, and then the next week we reverse it, and I'd come with a high cross body off the top rope, or he'd come slingshot himself, and either or, one of us was flying. But it's just that one thing. We would do one thing over the ropes, boom. Then it would set up for a kick, the person take a bump on the floor, then the flying spot. And I heard Jimmy, and he didn't go in that great detail. What he said was, he goes, well, what you got to realize is, you had Bobby and Chris. They were both young. They were both athletic. They loved the business. And they done one big thing, and they did this and they did that. And when it built to a bigger spot, when one of them was flying or doing something like that, he goes, if they'd have done more than that, I'd have went to them and jerked them out of matches. He goes, but they took it right to where it still made sense. Because we wasn't doing it every fucking 5 minutes or every 2 minutes or whatever. We were doing a spot that meant something. So when it's time for me to launch myself off the top rope and him catch me, you know, or whatever, it meant something. And the same with him. I remember one night, Chris, he came at me and he come flying. I had to reach up and pull him back on me because he was overshooting me, way overshooting me. I had to pull him back down on me to take the cross body. Like, oh man. But yeah, he was very talented. It was a pleasure being in the ring with Chris. Outside the ring at that time, you know, he was, I was going to say he's married. He's with Tammy, but, you know, they were together a lot. So, I mean, when I was over in Knoxville, I ate at their house several times. At that time, I had recently got married. So we had a lot, we went to several cities. We went up to, Sabu had a show in Detroit, went up there for a couple of days. Jimmy gave us a couple of days to go up there with our program, and we roomed together. And, you know, we're just sitting in the room talking like Robert and I used to. We're just sitting all about the business, talking about we can't wait for our first trip to Japan because neither one of us had been yet. But we knew, you know, by God, this business is going to get me to Japan. You know, I mean, we just, you know, and he was like me when I was in Tampa. We had the old VHS tapes, and I'd watch this and that from Japan. He was getting the same thing in New Jersey, watching all these tapes and stuff, and having these same kind of ideas. But yeah, and we never. Believe it or not, you know, we never partied outside the ring. That was a different time for him than it was for me. And, you know, he wasn't much of a drinker, and I always drank me some beer or whatever, but I never, you know what I'm saying? That was a different part. At that time, no bad habits, if you will, you know, other maybe than our exes, you know. I don't want to bury anyone, but
I remember watching those matches that you had with Candido, and that was the first time ever I saw a power bomb off the top rope.
Oh, good recall, man.
I've never ever seen that, and when I saw that, I was just blown away because of the athleticism you guys had, and what you guys did made sense. And then all of a sudden, boom! There's this power bomb off the top, and they're going, wow, how did
Thank
you?
See,
I still wouldn't be out of balance to do that. You know, I know it takes
That's not a horseman. I took that 4 nights in a row. And I never forget the first night we were in Hazard, Kentucky. We did it during Thanksgiving Thunder Tour. And we had 4 nights in a row lined up. And Chris comes to me in the hallway. He's like, Bobby, I got this great idea. And I'm like, okay, what is it? So he starts telling about this fucking power bomb off the top rope. And I'm like, are you fucking crazy? Are you serious? He goes, yeah, I'm serious. I go, fuck. I go, so you want me to take a power bomb? He goes, yeah. I'm like, I don't know, man. And I go, can you fucking pick me? He goes, and so he bent over and he picked me up and, you know, on concrete there. He's like, I got this. And it's like, okay, can we balance ourselves and stuff? He goes, yeah. So anyway, we go out there, very good house, all 4 nights. So it's a big Christmas Chaos and Thanksgiving Thunder, those 2, 3, we usually had 4 or 5 towns lined up in a row, special off TV. So he did really well. So the first night, Kevin Sullivan was on the card. He's on all of them, matter of fact, because this happened the second night. So the first night, we go up, and Chris's idea was, once he power bombs me, and this is a little bit extreme, and it means something. I took the power bomb. It fucking crunched every god damn, boom. It just crack, pop, snap, crackle, pop. But then he went back to the top rope again immediately after he power bombed me. And as he jumped off, I drop kicked him in midair. Now that sounds great and it looked fantastic, okay? Might have looked like shit. I don't know. I was there. I think it looked pretty damn good. But here's the idea where I'm going with this power bomb, boom, and then I jump up and drop kick a guy. That doesn't make sense. But in our mind, we're putting this together. Kevin Sullivan comes up to us in the hallway and says, hey, listen, my God, the boys in Atlanta, they're going to be going crazy trying to duplicate this. He said, that was the fucking most insane bump. He's just really putting us over. And he goes, but here's the thing, Bobby. And I love Kevin. and I see him. I saw him in March earlier this year. Always have something good to say to each other. So, and he's been in my house actually, believe it or not. No, he didn't sleep on the couch, Robert. But anyway, yeah, that's special. That's special for you. But anyway, no. So Kevin says, this is what I want you to do. When you take that power bomb, Bobby, you're dead. That's it. You lay there. Chris, you get up selling that you gave him the spot, however you land it, whether you set out or you're laying on your knees. You slowly get up. You go to pick up Bobby. Bobby, be a sack of potatoes. Shoot. Just don't even give him any help. Chris, and once you do it, you look around like, oh, fuck, I've hurt this kid. I've hurt him. And you look concerned. So there's no big jumping up, doing a drop kick and this and that, you know. He goes, that way it makes sense. Now, excuse me, I go fight Brian Lee in an Asian spike match. so he turns and walks up, and there's Kevin trying to tell us to keep it real, right? He's gonna go beat another fucking man with an Asian spike, you know. So we both just start cracking up. But what happens is this, and with all due respect when I tell that story. So what happened is the next day and the next 3 days when I took the power bomb off the top rope, I just laid there and the fucking place just kept coming and watching because Chris go to grab my trunks, couldn't pick me up, grabbed me around the waist and I'm dead weight. And he's trying to pick me up and he drops me, looks around like, oh shit, what am I going to do? You know, until that moment when I do kind of get up and he gets me up and then I start mounting a comeback. But just those little things, see, you think, oh, and nowadays, of course, you see someone I don't know if they fucking take a power bomb, jump up. They do 3 or 4 whirly birds. They do a fuck me in the air while I'm coming down outside the ring. I throw you back in. No, Sal, here I come again. God damn it, catch me when I hit the concrete floor. Oh, that didn't even fucking hurt. And you know they're paying for it. But it's still, oh, by the way, the finish, roll me up small package or our finish, sunset flip. And you're like, God, what? Are you fucking kidding me? You know, so anyway, yeah, when you do those things, we had a rhyme and a reason to do it. Again, point being that, you know, Jimmy would have reeled us in had we went too far.
Yeah.
But what we did made sense. And we changed one little glitch in it because realistically, I shouldn't be jumping up after that. Yeah. I don't know how the fuck I did, to be honest with you. I was just young and healthy and in shape, I guess. But the next 3 nights and afterwards, I knew to lay there, you know. And I've seen people do it a couple of times, and they'll say, oh, this is the first time I ever seen this. And this is back in shortly after I'd done it. And like, no, motherfucker. Bobby Blaze and Chris Candido did it way before you did, Landstorm. Way before anyone else fucking did this. Don't give me that bullshit. And it was just like Kevin Sullivan said. And within a few weeks, and I knew Brad Armstrong in Atlanta. I knew several other people in Atlanta working. And they was like, God damn, Bobby, how the hell did you do that? I'm never going to do that, you know, and stuff. Because I knew Scott and Steve and Bullet, and like Brad hadn't come yet, but I knew him. And it was like all the boys in Atlanta was talking about y'all's match. And I was like, that's good enough for me. You know, that's good shit, you know. So another thing, I was in a tag match one time in Cleveland. It was me, Ricky Morton, and I think JT Lightning, maybe. Anyway, we was against Sabu, Doug Gilbert, and Tommy Rich. It was me and Tracy. I want to say it's JT. Anyway, this big 6-man match, boom, 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 in Cleveland, Ohio, right? And I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I don't know where. But here, by pulling my story, I jumped from Smoky Mountain to a Cleveland All-Pro show, being in the ring with people. People in Atlanta was wanting to do, the boys were like putting my match over for Candido, putting our match over. You got to see these guys from Smoky Mountain. They fucking kill it. Well, someone had recorded that tape in Cleveland a couple years later, and word got back to me that at WWF at the time, catering, they was like, you got to watch this. You got to watch this. And in catering, someone was fucking playing me and Tracy, and I think JT against Sabu, Doug Gilbert, and Tommy Rich. And these guys are in WWF, and they're watching watching us because they knew Tommy, they knew me, they knew Tracy, what I'm saying? Like, but it was that good because we're having a 6-man match, but we're making fucking sense with it. We're having fun with it. And people in catering, they're watching a fucking independent show match because that's a talent. And I was like, what a fucking compliment, man. I don't even watch your shit on Monday nights, So I'm just saying those are feel good moments because I let my ego, sometimes I downplay this or that, but those moments make me feel good when someone says, yeah, man, all the guys in Atlanta are like putting your match over, or all the guys in WWF was watching you in catering, like, well, goddamn, tell them to get my number and call me, but anyway.
So besides Chris Candido, that was your best opponent. What was your best time in Smoky Mountain?
Oh man, I had a good run with that, and then of course getting to work and get for Jerry Lawler to come in and be a professional dude. He did for me, and put the title on me. That was a good deal. Got to work with Buddy. And, Buddy had this love-hate relationship, a lot of respect there. And I love Buddy, but goddamn, sometimes we just, Bobby, and I'm like, Buddy, you get your head out of your ass. When Buddy was on, Buddy was on.
Yeah.
And sometimes you had to pull that out of Buddy. And sometimes Buddy would be lazy doing this and that. And but one night we were in Tennessee and Sandy Scott went up to Buddy. We'd worked the night before, and fuck, it was like pulling teeth, man. And Sandy went up, and he come to me, come back, he said, I told Buddy Landell, if you can't work with this boy right here, you're fucking fired. You can't work. And that night, Buddy went out there, and he caught everything that was boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's fucking over like Rover, and like you pull that out of him. We were in Ashland at the National Guard Armory, and Buddy come to town early, and I had dropped the title on TV about the week before, and TV hadn't reached Ashland yet, so I thought I should go out with the belt, and Sandy was a road agent, and Buddy's laying back there on the table, about half out of it, and I said, Buddy, this is what I think, that people, we don't have TV in this area as far as Smoky Mountain shut off about 30 miles from here on the cable networks. I like, let me go out. I'll drop it to you in my hometown. And none is the wiser. He goes, no, because if there's any fans out there and they see it, word of mouth, and the kids, this is pretty much pre or early internet type thing. So I'm like, okay, well, so Sandy was like, Bobby, what you gonna do for finish tonight? I explained to Sandy. He goes, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, Buddy comes off the table. And he goes, oh, I got it, Bobby. I got it. I've been praying about it. I got it. I was like, okay. He goes, first of all, I need to go out the title because I legitimately want it back from you on TV. And if any fans do know, they'll he goes, but I got this finish. And I'm like, okay. So I listened to him. And he was right. He was a veteran. And it was the right call for him to go out the belt because if he wanted heard otherwise, you're breaking kayfabe, that's no good. But when he called the finish, so Buddy was in the corner and he pulls out the brass knuckles and he goes to hit me. The referee comes in between. I block it. He drops them. I pick him up. Curtis still looks at him. The referee looks at him. He comes under. Buddy turns around and I glom him right in the fucking jaw with the brass knuckles. And Buddy goes straight out, just like a boxer. He goes straight out in the middle of the ring and is laying there. 1, 2, 3. Clean in the middle of the ring. Fucking place erupts. Got 500-700 people there in my hometown. Hildebrand brings out the Mark Curtis, brings out the belt like Bobby Blaze, and your new Smoky Mountain heavyweight champion. Buddy's laid out in the middle of the ring. I've got the belt in my hands. I put the belt up like this, and Mark Curtis comes around and looks, and I've got the brass knuckles in my fist. And he goes, no, and he pushes my hand down, no, and I'm like, oh man, I look at the fans. It was obvious what happened, but they was happy. He takes the belt and he goes, no, this is not your belt. And I grab the belt back, and Buddy's still laying there selling. And I go over and I lay the belt across his stomach. So there's your Smoky Mountain heavyweight champion in the middle of the ring with the belt laying on him. I go in the back, and the place is going crazy. It's really great. And Sandy Scott goes, "Who called that finish?"
Well, so he's built a star.
Oh, yeah. And he goes, "Who called that finish?" And I said, "Buddy did." He said, "He's a fucking genius tonight." And I said, "Yes, sir. Thank you." And when Buddy come in, he said, "Bobby, I love you." He hugged me, I love you. And I was like, "Buddy, man, it was great." You know what I'm saying? But that's professionalism. And, prior to his death, I was on Facebook at one time, and we spoke several times on there. It was really good to reconnect with. I hadn't seen him for a couple of years. One of the last time I'd seen him, he was actually wrestling in my hometown, and he come out and really put me over. Like, I was just there selling merch. I wasn't there on the card. I was just a special appearance or something. And Buddy was like, right there's who you need to be cheering for. That boy right over there. And it's put me over. And it wasn't my show or anything. I was like, hey, buddy, what a great, stuff like professionalism,
Oh, he was great to watch. I really enjoyed his work. I mean?
Yeah.
I actually sometimes prefer watching him than watching actually Ric Flair. I just think I think he brings just something different, just the way he punches people.
Oh yeah,
all the way great he moves. I reckon he was pretty good. I think. He just obviously could have gone. He could have gone so much further.
Yeah,
he went, so.
Yeah. And he when he was, like I said, when Buddy was on, fucking there was none better. He was on.
Exactly.
And, I got to be a part of that. So again, I know, the question you was asking, like, how much the other times or fun times other than Candido. I really don't have a lot of. There wasn't that many bad times in Smoky Mountain. We had good morale in the locker room. We had a good mix of veterans and up and comers, and we had a good crew. And just the travel for me was everything was depending where I stayed at, whether I stayed in Knoxville or stayed at my home, everything is 4 hours or less, depending. And sometimes I stayed in Knoxville for 3 or 4 days, come home for 3 or 4 days, and it was just a good mix. And it money wise, everyone was getting compensated, but as babyface, you're selling gimmicks. So like a lot of times those gimmicks pay for my gas, pay for my hotel room, pay for my food or whatever. I never cut into my check. So when I come home on a Monday and had my check, I just cash it or put it in the bank, because I spent money off the gimmicks, pictures or Polaroids back then. And we do selfies nowadays on people's cell phones, and I find that so fucking funny. I was like, here, take a picture. And again, these appearances, I'm like, no, Bobby, things have changed.
It loses the hustle, doesn't it, Bob?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so a couple people smart me up. I'm like, okay. So you buy this picture, because I went to this lexicon, and like I said, WrestleCon and these different cons, and like, no, the selfie on their phone, come over. So I'm like, okay, if you buy a picture for $5 or $10, 8x10, you get a free selfie, and we all go home happy. So just buy something. If you don't want to buy the book, or you don't want to buy a DVD or a T-shirt, and you're looking, just let's all be happy here. Just buy, give me $5, take a picture, and take a selfie. And I'm like, now I see these young people at this show, the last couple of shows, and I'm like, they're out there at the fans. They're just new. They've had a few matches, and they're taking pictures with them with their stuff. And I'm like going, one day I'll show you how to make money off of that. And then they look at me like, what? And I go, yeah. Because when you go to those things, I had people that I know outside of the, I've known them for years. They'll come to a convention, and they'll bring me something to sign. Someone had a replica belt for me to sign, and it's $20. And that's because that's what the convention says charge, And I said, how to sign this free out there in the parking lot. Like, yeah, Bobby, I know, but you know what? I know this is what you're doing, and I want to respect that. And I said, thank you. And I sign it, and they give the guy the $20, But I get it, and that's the way I am too. I'm like, if you when you go to one of these things, you know what you're getting into, and the money's going back to the boys. So support it, like support independent wrestling. That's what I'm all about. Support independent wrestling. When I go to these things, and the same thing when I'm online, I try to pay it forward by posting people's stuff on Twitter and talking to people. Get this person booked, check this chick out, or check this guy's match out, or something like that, because that's a little bit of me being able to give back, But yeah, just I'm just glad that Robbie Zucco there didn't fucking jump off that couch and just whoop my ass in my living room. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, chill, bro. Just have a beer and relax. It'll all be all right.
So, another question I wanted to ask you as well. What were your memories of wrestling Roddy Piper?
Oh, it was great. So I had been up in Canada and I came home and was watching the program on TV, and I saw a couple guys from Malenko's doing job squash matches, what do you want to call it back then. And I was like, holy shit, man, I just was in Canada with this guy. I just saw this guy before. So I called him up and they said, oh, yeah, just, when they come to your area, anywhere in your area, go up, ask for JJ, and just tell them you like to maybe do some TV and you got the experience. You worked at Malenko's. So I was like, okay, great. So I went to the Huntington Civic Center in about 15 minutes from my house up in West Virginia. And my brother and I went up there. They was recording the Superstars of. And so my brother and I are sitting at this table. And at the time, you see the video maybe. I'm more tan, blonde hair, whatever. And I'm just sitting on a table like this, waiting. I asked for JJ, let us in. I told him who it was. We met him. He goes, yeah, hey, stick around. We put you, we'll use you for sure. So I'm sitting there. And Piper comes strolling through, and he's just drag assing them. You just tell the guy's been on the road for fucking 35 years, and you're like, and he goes right by me, and he goes and looks back at me. He goes, hey, who you working tonight? And the board is behind me, but I have no idea because my name's not on there. And I go, I don't know one. I guess you care to come for me? I've got an idea. I mean, this all happened within about 10 to 20 seconds. I go, yeah, sure. I follow him. He goes, man, I got an idea for you. We walk into a bathroom, and he goes, and a bathroom in the back, and he goes, I'm doing this thing with Ric Flair with a chair for Flair. He goes, man, you look like him, this and that. He goes, would you want to do a little bit of an angle tonight, just in house? I go, yes, sir, whatever. He goes, wait right here. I think it's a fucking rib. He just pulled me, takes me to a bathroom and says, wait right here. So I'm there for a couple of minutes, little did I know, because I hadn't seen Flair yet, but he's on the other side of the building doing promos and stuff. Right. Yeah. And once I knew the layout of the building, I went back to several more of the show. Like, oh, okay, I get it. So Piper, door opens up. Here comes Piper and Flair. Flair introduced, goes, hey, Rick, this is Bobby Blaze. And he goes, Bobby, I said, yes, sir. What or not? I obviously knew, And he goes, so I got this idea. Maybe we have our match, Bobby, do something. And then at the end, though, if the chair's there, I get you with the chair. And I go, so I was just telling someone the other day. And so he goes, and I understand Bobby does a pretty good Ric Flair impersonation. I went, oh, fuck. And he just caught that on the spot. Well, I was like, whoo, listen here, baby. This is Ric Flair. I'm a jet flying, wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing. And so I done a little promo in the bath. And Flair looked at me and goes, that's pretty good, kid, but you're no Ric Flair. And he goes, if you do my one bump and you go out there and do it, he goes, do me a favor and do yourself a favor. And this is Flair talking. He goes, turn your head, because if you don't, your nose will look like this. And his nose, and I just start cracking up. I go, all right, sir, sure. So anyway, long story short, that Flair leaves, and Piper goes, you call it. What do you want to do? Well, I remember this old spot I saw Terry Funk do where he turnbuckle, backdrop, finish, whatever. So Piper said, you call it. What do you want to do? I said, how about this old Funk spot? I said, give me 3 or 4 turnbuckles. Either let me go or don't. I'll meet you in the middle and pull if you want to give me a backdrop, that's fine. If not, which I knew his finish time was Bulldog, or Bulldog me. From there, he goes, I love it. I'll see you in the ring. He goes, and listen, if the chair's there, I'll get you. If it's not, you be skedaddling. I was like, okay. So got to the ring. I'm standing there. And he had told me right before we went out, he said, spit on me. And this, of course, way before fucking COVID. But anyway, just all joking aside, some people like spit and some people don't. I just know this. I used to be a really good spitter. like, country boy, hot tui, and spit, boom, and hey, see who can spit the farthest, put, you're a kid, so I said that jokingly, and he started laughing, like, okay, not a swallower, anyway. So I tell him, man, he goes, I don't care. I want you to spit on me. I go, okay, man. And so he comes out and he's got this chair and he starts going, this chair's for Flair. This kid thinks he's Ric Flair. Well, I just go, and I spit, and man, it hits him right in the fucking eye. And he just scoops out like that, and he comes in and boom, 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 starts getting on me. And who wouldn't? Because that's realistic. You spit in someone's face, they gotta fucking fight you or something. 100%. Boom, 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 turnbuckle, backdrop, which wasn't my best backdrop because I was coming out of turnbuckle. If I had another step, I'd even got even higher for the guy. Boom, feet up out of that, turnbuckle, bulldog, boom. Referees 1, 2, 3. Roddy Piper's like, thank you, brother. Watch out. He rolls off of me, goes and gets the chair. I start to go beautifully. One of the easiest chair bumps ever. Right as I'm going to the top rope, he gloms me on the back across the chair right as I'm going over. And it's just beautiful, baby. It's easy. It was so easy, and I got paid good, and he thanked me, and they used me for several more TVs after that, So yeah, good memories, man. The only thing is it's it's listed as Bobby Smedley. I couldn't use Bobby Blaze. I couldn't at the time. I didn't have any flame gear, but I had some red and black gear and stuff. They said wear as plain stuff. I had white boots and blue spandex. That be as plain as you can. That's what the office told you, And they said, and we'll have to use. And as let's see, Bobby Heenan, he liked calling people ham and eggers and this and that. And I think it's an honor that Bobby Heenan, when they said from Ashland, Kentucky, Bobby Smedley, and Heenan goes, how would you like to go through life with that moniker? Like, hey, hey, I could take it. You got to have tough skin in this business, That's the fucking best manager of all time out there, you're putting over your last name, So, it's one of those things, just good publicity. Here we are talking about it 25 years later or whatever it is, and I feel good about it,
You should.
So
you should be proud.
Thankful about it. Yeah. And I appreciate that, man. And again, guys, I just enjoy, talking wrestling, bullshit with you guys, talking life. I appreciate this opportunity to be on your program, man. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure. It's it's very rare that I'm this quiet on a podcast, but I'm just like, honestly, I feel like I'm in wrestling school right now, and I'm just learning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
now you know what I went through.
Yeah.
You just shut up and just listen, and I guarantee you'll get an education whether you like it or not. So it's incredible, isn't it? It's just a wealth of knowledge. You can't teach that because it's just years of experience. You know what I mean? So it's incredible. And also too, he's been around a lot of guys. You know what I mean? A lot of guys that have been in the business, that have been there, done that. So he just has that he's a natural born wrestler. That's the way you look at it. He's a natural born. He's definitely.
I'm honored. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. I appreciate it. I sincerely appreciate it because things like this, it means so much to me that something I said impacted someone or meant something to someone, and that's just me giving back. And that's the kind of stuff that keeps me going in my life. It's that living now, going like, oh man, I've got this podcast coming up. I'm gonna reconnect with a friend of mine. I'm gonna meet someone else. Piers, thank you. And it's a pleasure. And it's like, and then you're like, we're just, like I said, man, we're just like three guys. We're sitting at the end of the bar, having a beer, watching sports, or we're in a car. We're just going to make the next town. Pop me another one back there. Here we go. Gears loaded up. We got another town to go to, and we're going to do it all again tomorrow. And we get back to that hotel room, or we get back to the couch, and we sit there and talk about, oh, if you've done this, slow this down, speed that up, do this, don't do that. Like, because I've been in the back seat and you're talking this, this would make sense. And like I said, if you just take that drop kick out and play dead, changes the whole mood, the whole shift of the thing to get over that much more. But there's the correct mind of one Kevin Sullivan, who's one of, to me, Jimmy Cornette and Kevin Sullivan are the two greatest minds in fucking professional wrestling to me. But those are guys I've been around. Those are guys I've learned from. And I wrote my second book. You talk about the educational wrestler. I was working for Bobby Fulton some at the time, and I was working for Jimmy Cornette at the time. So Cornette was, Tennessee, Kentucky, some West Virginia, but down there in Virginia. And then Bobby Fulton was usually on shows above, more like up in upper West Virginia and over in Ohio. So I was staying booked regular, and I'm working for these two guys. And Bobby and I just talked about this. He came over, taught a class for me one day, and we went to a show together the next day to watch the students. And Bobby and I was talking. I love Bobby, and he knows that. And we was talking about that time. I just got off the plane. Obviously, I just got off the plane from Australia. Within a couple of days, I still jet lagged. He called me, asked me if I want a booking first to my work for him, and he said, Jimmy Cornette said you've been contacting him, and I got your number. He said, I know you work for Tommy's son, which was Tommy Rogers down in Tampa. He goes, and also Dean and Joe. And I go, yeah, and just got back from Australia with them. He goes, come here. And we walked in a shower. And this is God's honest truth. And we just told this to a bunch of students the other day, 2 weeks ago. And I've told them this for a year now. Some of the students that's been there coming and going. I got a job from a lockup. Okay. Bobby said, here, step in here with me real quick. And he had these guys on his shows, a couple guys that could work and a couple guys that were kind of goose, but he's just now putting this thing together. Okay. So Bobby and I walk into the shower area. And he goes, lock up. And I lock up with him. And he goes, I'll see you in the first, third, and last match. And I was like, okay. Well, what Bobby used to do, and I found out this later from Rip Rogers, I didn't know at the time, but what Bobby would do, see, Bobby had this crew of about 10 or 12 people, but where he got it at was out there in Dallas. And he had a small crew. You keep your budget down. But Bobby will work like 3 times, see? So the very first match I went out there, he said, I'll see you in the first, third, and last match. I'm like, okay. And we were just talking about this. And I just saw Ronnie Garvin Wednesday, as a matter of fact, 2 days ago. He lives up in West Virginia. He was there was 4 of us there. It was Ronnie Garvin, Shane Douglas, Mr. Hughes, Curtis Hughes, myself. But the main attraction was none other than Kurt Angle. And Angle is the man, let me tell you. So we were up there prior to an AEW show at this convention right beside a convention hall. So it was really cool. But anyway, I did see Ronnie, and I didn't bring this up, of course, but I always speak to him. But anyway, Ronnie was in the back tired, and he wasn't going to go out on main event. So, because he had traveled up to North Carolina. This was, again, back in the day. Well, I get in the first match. Bobby does what's called a captain's match. And a manager throws me the gimmick. I glom him because I'm working the heel. And Bobby sells it and gets the microphone because we're the captains. I'm going to pick me a tag team partner. You pick you one, and I'll see you later on tonight. Well, then Bobby comes out in the third match dressed as a fucking Ninja Turtle because Mark Curtis was the Ninja Turtle. And some of you all have seen that against him and Cornette. Well, Mark was working in Smoky Mountain. That's when he started full time. But Mark's dad brought the gimmick over to Bobby. I'm out there. Bobby's in the turtle gimmick. Boom, do that deal. And then the main event, me and another guy, we tag team against, of course, Ronnie comes out and does his match. That's done. And Bobby and I come out in the main event. He's got a partner. I got a partner. And we beat him up. Boom, boom, boom. But of course, the faces go over at the end. And like next, Bobby like paid me. Next day, he calls me and said, Bobby, man, I really enjoyed yesterday. I'd love to. Did you see this one guy? I'm like, he's a goof. I've had him all these shows. He's not listening, doing this and that. He goes, I want you on all my shows that you're not. I said, okay, sure. I go, but I can't come for what you paid me. He paid me decent. It wasn't, but I was like, I'm not, because it's 5 hours, and I don't like 5 hours. I like 2 and 3 hours, and I go, I can't come for that. He goes, no. He goes, that was what I allotted for that show. He goes, this is what I'm going to pay you. And if there's less of a house, if you take less and work with me, when there's more of a house, I'll pay you more. Will you agree to that and fluctuate for $50? I said, yes, sir, I will. Because it was decent. And then next thing I know, Cornette's calling me and asking me, do I want to try out? And because of that, because Bobby Fulton told him, you got it. This guy that you gave me his number. He said, and Bobby will tell you, he's like, he's fucking Jimmy. He's fucking fantastic. He knows what the fuck's going on. Give him a job, or give him a tryout rather. And Cornette called me, and I went. I tried against Brian Lee. And again, these bathroom stories. Cornette and I have these bathroom stories. It's a running joke with us. So he, again, in the bathroom, Bobby, and I've already talked to him outside, of course. And he goes, Bobby, and I already knew who Brian Lee was. Already talked to him months before that. So in comes Brian Lee, and Jimmy goes, hey, Bobby, this is Brian Lee. He's our TV champion. He was our first champion. He goes, you care to put him over? I looked at him. I go, what? This fucking guy's like 6'8", 280 pounds. Jimmy, let me ask you this. Brian, what's your fucking finish? Of course I'll put you over. You know, they start laughing, and Brian said, you're the fucking heel. You call it. Here's my finish. It's called the final countdown. I drape you across my shoulder, drop to my knees, spin you off 1, 2, 3. You good at that? I said, yeah, I'm good at that. See you in the ring. And that night, locked up, done a couple things. Brian Lee started going, oh, man, I dare him to give you a job, brother. You're like a night off. And Mark Curls was going, God damn, Bobby, you can work, man. Because he knew I was Malenko. He was a Mark. That's where he took his first name, Mark, you know. Like Mark Mercedes, that fucking Mark, you know.
I knew you were
fucking
going
Marks. So they're, you know what I'm saying? So then in the ring put me over. I'm like, I'm just out here fucking working. But I had been working. I just done over in Australia. You know, I'd been in nonstop for 4 months probably at that point. And of course I can work, you know, but I got a job out of it, you know. And so one more funny bathroom story, just so you know when I say that. The last time I was at Wrestled, they did a Smokey Mountain panel, and Dr. Tom, Dutch, Bobby Fulton, Tracy was still with us, myself, and of course Jim Cornette, and we was on this panel, and everyone got to speak, and I started to speak, and Jimmy got up and come behind me, because, you know, it's his show anyway. And who am I to argue with Jim Cornette? Because if anyone could fucking out-talk him, I'd like to fucking meet him, because it ain't happening. So I start talking about this and that, and Cornette says, hey, Bobby, why don't you just tell him this story right here? Tell him about the time in Johnson City, Tennessee in a bathroom. I'm like, oh, okay. So this is it. I'm in the bathroom in Johnson City, Tennessee. I'm standing there taking a piss, and a door swings open, and it's Cornette. And he goes, hey, Bobby, and he kind of looked and he goes, hey, Bobby, I got you booked next month over in Charlotte. Well, fuck, Charlotte. I always wanted to wrestle in Charlotte, man, you know, because that's hotbed of wrestling when I was watching NWA back then. So I'm standing there just like, okay, Jimmy, like I'm just over trying to piss, you know. But he goes, yeah, I got you booked against Dan Severn. Oh. And I just stopped pissing midstream. Now, you guys know how hard that is. I just stopped pissing. And I'm like, what? I go, oh, you fucking money or something? And so I go over, and he's in the bathroom, the door. It's a bigger bathroom. We're not crowded. There's nothing like that. But the door shuts, and I'm over washing my hands, and I still probably got a half a bladder full because I just stopped. And I go, what? He goes, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I go, the guy just won the UFC the other night. He goes, yeah. I go, fuck. Does he know it's a work? He goes, oh, yeah, he's been working out. Faust knows some. He knows. I'm like, fuck, Jimmy, I don't know, man. We're just standing there talking, and I go, okay. He said, Bobby goes, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. He goes, and I'll put a little something in your envelope for you at night. I go, okay, thank you a lot, you know.
He was the NWA World's Champion at the time when you faced him, right?
At that point, no. I don't. Yes, he was. I faced him twice when he was NWA champion. And that's the other thing. Let me tell you real quick. So anyway, I like, okay. Went to Charlotte, wrestled him, and then it was a pretty decent match. But the best one, we went to Knoxville several months later and had an even better match because Severn, we came and worked out together, and I explained to him, if you will not counter everything I'm doing before I fucking do it. We had a gentleman's agreement. It's available on YouTube. It's a gentleman's agreement. It's Bobby Blaze and Dan Severn. We're both doing a commentary, and we're talking about our gentleman's agreement. But the second match I always felt was better because I actually countered stuff, and he gave me a little bit enough to work because I was like, Dan, I've been in this area for 3 years, been on TV here, and I know these people, and I've been champion here. Slow it down just a bit, and it'll work so much better. And it did, because as soon as I came through the curtain that night, Jim Cornette and Buddy Landell was looking at a monitor, And as soon as I come through the curtain, they both jumped up and said, "God damn, Bobby." And they shook my hand, and Buddy was like, "Bobby, you send that to Japan right there. You send that match to Japan." I mean, just that's your comrade, your peers putting you over. You know what I'm saying? Like, holy fuck. But yeah, so those are kind of my bathroom stories. But I was going to say, I had 3 chances. And this, to me, when you treat it like a shoot and you love the wrestling business, I had 3 chances at the NWA World's Heavyweight title. And 2 of them was against Dan Severn, and 1 of them was right here in my hometown against Chris Candido, right before he went to New York to WWF. He had been into All Japan, and he had the belt still, and he honored the last few bookings he had with Cornette, and we were in Ashland, Kentucky, National Guard. And I've known Tammy without tits and with tits. So this is pre-tit Tammy, and she's out there managing him in my hometown. She's prancing, dancing around, whatever. And Chris and I we just tore it up, man. He just put it all on the line for me and had a hell of a match. And so a few years ago, a promotion had this thing said, first time ever in this area. It was when Nick Aldis had the NWA title, and this is, and they said he came in and he wrestled a guy, Strickland or Stickland or something. We with the Performance Center. Anyway, they had this match a couple miles from here over in Ohio. And I was like, I'm going to tell you something. You're wrong when you're advertising. And it's a friend of mine. I said, he said, how's that? I go, motherfucker, I wrestled for the NWA title over there in the National Guard Armory. Oh, I didn't know. I go, well, you wouldn't know. You was a fucking young kid back then. You know what I'm saying? I go, but by God, I remember, because it meant something to me. You know what I'm saying? And of course, he has to advertise the way he advertised. I understand that. And I'm very supportive of the business of what he was doing. But, it's been so long people forgot. But, to fight for that title, your Dory Funk Jr.'s had, Terry Funk had, Dusty and Flair and Tommy Rich. And I talked to Tommy. We have a fucking blast every time I see Tommy. I saw him back in April. He's such a blast, man. The April, it might have been June. I don't even, whatever it was. We always have a good time. And NWA, he held that title for a fucking week. But you know what? That was an important week in professional wrestling history. And he always says, you ask him about that, he say, man, Harley's good people. Harley's good people. He done it for me. Well, you know what? So is Jerry Lawler. So is Buddy Landell. And so is Jimmy Cornette. Because Jimmy Cornette called me about 6 weeks before that happened and said, if I can work this out, do you want a piece of it? And I said, absolutely. Fuck yes, I want to be a part of it. And then Jerry Lawler had the professionalism to come over to Knoxville, drop the strap to me, and then go out there. And then Buddy try to, I've defended against Buddy and be put over again on the same card. And then work a program. Fuck yeah, I'll do it. It was an honor. And then, of course, NWA, like I said, it was an honor to wrestle Dan Severn. Not once, but twice. I wish we'd had one more match, because had that been planned, we could have maybe slid me over in that second match to have the rubber match. It's just not the way it was booked back then at that particular time. No gripes. And the same thing as we went on earlier about Candido, no gimmicks needed, man. We just went out there and fucking worked a match. By that time, we had 2 more years experience from when we had worked for the little junior heavyweight title. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's getting ready, finished up New Japan, All Japan, and getting ready to go to WWE full time. And here he is in my hometown, fucking, working. Good stuff. Good stuff.
You worked a lot of amazing workers. One of the names that stuck out, because he's not really known for being an amazing worker, but I wanted to get your opinion on him, because there's been a lot of criticism, I think, especially after the last few years, when he comes back to, and people say he comes back to play wrestler to impress his kid. But when you wrestled Goldberg, like, he was pretty green at the time. What are your memories of that match?
I joke around. I say I was victim number 67. I'll tell you this: I have a lot of respect for Bill Goldberg. He was very respectful in the locker room. He was young. We done a pay-per-view together up in Detroit, and that's maybe one of the earlier times that I met him. And anyway, so he was always, professional back and this and that. When we were in Orlando, and that was for the worldwide taping. And I never forget this. We went out and the way they do the tapings, they'll do like say from 10 until 11, half an hour break, 11:30 to 12:30, half an hour break, because they go out into the park and they bring about 300 people in for every hour of taping at Universal Studios when I said a park. So we go to the ring in between a break, and I'm like working with Goldberg, and I say, well, how about if I do this? And this is how he was back then. It was like, I go, how about if I do this? And I jump across, give him a forearm. And I go, you can, and I tell a guy, like I said, you can sell it. If you take a bump, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. Well, what happened was we got in the ring, we started going around with each other, and I took him off his feet. And he I'm not saying he was trying to shoot, and I wasn't trying to shoot. We're trying to work on a match, an idea how we could do this. And I was just like playing with him, pretty much like he's a big kid, big paws, and he's wanting to do something. So he looks good on TV because I know the deal. But what happened is just so happened when I took him off his feet and took him down, what happened, I was trying to show him that if you took someone down and you put your knee against your head and you put your knee in there and you just look more vicious. The guy's trying to work with the guy. I knew he was one of the boss's fucking projects, but he was laying on his back. I had my knee laying there across, and I was like, if you do this, you could be. About that time, Arn Anderson comes through, and there's only a couple people around. I think someone else in the ring with us, even just working. Arn comes by, and he looks over and shakes his head and goes, I get up and I walk through and goes, don't take him off his feet in a match. And started laughing. I said, you think I did that? He goes, Bobby, don't take the talent off their feet, please. And started laughing at me. I go, yes, sir. So I go, Bill. But what my point wasn't, I didn't take him down, like put my knee on his. What it was, I showed him if he put someone down and he would put his knee there, it would be that much more aggressive when he went for the pin instead of just laying across them. Because he's early in his career. But it just so happened one of the bosses come by thinking, what the fuck's Bobby Blaze got Goldberg down on the mat for? But it was in a very, very, very working way. So anyway, and professional. So we're getting ready. So the half an hour is up for lunch break or whatever, getting the people in, and we're standing by the curtain. And right before we get to go out, he goes, hey, man, I just want to say thank you very much. He goes, I just know, he goes, it could easily be you going over as it is me. It's just what the bosses want. I go, brother, I know what I'm here for. He's behind me, and I'm looking through the curtain. I go, brother, I hear the music. I go, brother, it's all good. I know what I'm here for. Let's have a good time. Take care of me. So I went out. Boom, he comes in. I do the spot. He doesn't go down, which I expect and respect because he shouldn't have. So I jumped over. I give him the forearm. I give him another forearm. Boom, he fires up. Boom, 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 boom. Time for the jackknife, the spear. So here comes the spear. Boom. I'm in the middle of the ring. Next thing I know, I'm in the fucking corner. Then it's a jackknife. I had that mullet. My hair, I feel it brush the fucking mat as I'm going over. 1, 2, 3. I come through the curtain, and there's Terry Taylor waiting on me. And he goes, hey, Bobby, you okay? Did he hurt you? He goes, looked awful close. I go, bro, he took care of me. He goes, how well? I said, it was all easy. I said, no problem whatsoever. He goes, he was awful close to the mat. I said, I felt my hair sweep it. He needs to probably put people further back on the shoulder, or he's going to hurt someone's neck. But he took care of me because he tucked me. And he goes, all right, thank you very much. I go around another corner, and there's, coming behind me, there's Goldberg. Hey, thank you very much, Bobby. Appreciate it. Was everything okay? And I said, no, everything's fine, man. I said, you took good care of me. Appreciate it. No worries whatsoever. I go down to my the locker room area. I go to sit down. I'm untying my boots. Sorry about my hair. I'm untying my boots. And Nick Patrick, who's the referee, he said, Bobby, what are you doing? And I said, untie my boots. He goes, I don't know how that's possible. He goes, your boots are out there in the middle of the ring. He speared you right out of them. Started cracking up, man. I said, yeah, he did. So it's good memory, And the thing about that, people, I've known people, friends of mine, that were traveling and maybe get that first flight out of Lexington or Charleston, Lexington, Kentucky, Charleston, West Virginia, wherever, Cincinnati. And, guys don't be bothered at 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever. But I've had a couple people that told me, man, I ran into Goldberg, and this has been years ago. And they said, may I mention your name? And all he did was sit there and put you over. I'm like, why you fucking bug him at 6 o'clock? There's people I know well enough to joke around. I said, why you want to fucking bug the guy at 6 o'clock in the morning? He goes, man, he goes, you're my friend, and I knew you wrestled him. And he goes, I just wanted to tell him, it was really good to see my friend on TV wrestling him. And then him to say, but he just said nice things about you, Bobby. I'm like, well, of course he should. Why would he not? Because we're just two gentlemen, professionals out there, doing what we do best. And he was very modest and, like I said, and very easy to work with. Aggressive as fuck, of course. But that, it's not ballet. I signed up for wrestling and we fucking wrestled, and that's that, I wish, and I think at that point, the numbers were pretty even as far as he wrestled. So I always say I was victim number 67. They stacked those numbers. I've heard since then that, you don't go, if you added all the numbers up, I think Mike Tenay or someone did or something. But when he was still early, I would say I was in one of his first probably 50 matches. He might not have been, in his 60s yet, but at least in the first probably 45 to 50 matches of his career. And, it's for a worldwide audience. It wasn't on Nitro or Thunder, but it was on, worldwide TV. So that's good publicity as well,
Oh, absolutely. And I think that time was really him, like 98 was when it was like he was just on that way to, I think 98 is when he peaked, but it was the beginning of 98, he was building. And I think WCW had something special because it's the comparisons to Stone Cold Steve Austin were there just because of the bald goatee, right? But two completely different workers. And I think that Goldberg was the answer to what WCW needed at that time for a singles baby face, because they had the NWO, which was white hot. Then Goldberg came, his run white hot, the streak, everything like that went down in history. And it sounds like he was very respectful as well. He said he comes across very respectful, but when you hear stories of how many people, that he's injured, etc., sometimes you got to think as well, because there's always a back and forth. There's two people in the ring, right? So it's just because someone has an injury, okay, look at it. Well, did you protect yourself the right way when you were in the ring? Angel Medina, who wrestled in ECW, is a friend of mine. He was trained by Johnny Rodz, and he told me that Johnny always said, if you get hurt in the ring, if you get injured in the ring, it's your own fault. Which means you don't blame anyone else. No one's forcing you to do this. If you get injured, you're the one going into that ring to rest. That's the risk that you take.
I won't mention names, but I know a couple guys that were and I happened to be on the receiving end of it one time, in WCW, and some people are just careless with other people's bodies and no respect or don't know how to work. And that's a whole different animal. That was not Bill Goldberg. He took care of me. He's a beast of a man, very talented athlete. But again, at that point, he was very humble, and he knew what he knew what was going on, but he probably had no idea how big it was going to, even from there, how much bigger it was going to become, his success. Because even refer back to Kevin, I guess they had been, I'm not sure if it was a house show. I know it wasn't TV, but I guess he saw Goldberg work, and he said, pull him off TV right now, take him off the road for 3 months. And then when he comes out, it'll make sense. And it did. And I think it got over way more than what they thought it would. And they needed that. Like you said, they needed that at that time, So
sorry, guys.
Hey, welcome back. The OG right there, brother. The original greaser is back.
Yeah, so. But you know what? I think you're right. And people always said Goldberg's wrestling style was limited. But in reality, he didn't need to do anything.
Exactly.
People were looking for him for 5-star matches, because what was it? He came out, bit of a back and forth, a bit of brawling, hit the spear, hit the jackhammer, 1, 2, 3, crowd goes wild. And that's what he got, that reaction. He got over by doing stuff like that. It's the same as John Cena. John Cena, he can do a lot of good stuff in that ring, but he does very basic stuff in most of his matches. But he had a long time at the top.
I like to refer to it as not a lot of wasted movements.
Yes.
Why do a whole bunch of bullshit? go all around here, go from your elbow around your shoulder here to fucking right, twist your wristwatch up or whatever. He don't have to do headlocks and hammer locks like I was talking about earlier. Like you said, you caught his match exactly. You go out there, it's boom, 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 back and forth for a hot second there. Eventually, he's going to fucking spear you, jackknife you, pop. And that's what the people got a rush from. That 1 to 1.5 minutes, maybe. I don't even know if you went 2. Put music with you, you might have 2 minutes of TV time. But still, that was over, And so he don't have to go out there. I saw him on a house show with in Charleston, West Virginia. I was off, and it just I was like an hour from my house, I'm gonna ride up, see the boys, whatever. And he wrestled Yuji Nagata. It was 12 minutes, and it was just Yuji and him wrestling. So it's just a lot of people sitting there going like, boring, boring. Well, I enjoyed it because I wrestled Yuji Nagata, and I know he can wrestle. And I had a match with him on Worldwide as well. And one day I was wearing a Michinoku shirt across the Universal campus there, or park or whatever. And usually like, and he asked me, I said, yeah, I went over there. Oh, okay. Because I think he's New Japan or whatever. So, okay, next thing I know, a couple of weeks later, I'm working with him. But anyway, back to my story. There's Nagata and Goldberg working in Charleston at a house show. They got 12 minutes, but mostly usually was wrestling and then give them something. Wrestling, give them something to find a finish. And the people were sitting there just watching it like, well, fuck, this isn't like TV. I mean, that's what they was doing, you know what I'm saying? And then finally Goldberg just gets up, does something, does a spear, does a jackknife. So the last 30 seconds of the match, they fucking erupt. But the other time before that, I guess they're trying to teach him how to work. We've all heard the William Regal story, the same thing. He's trying to, tell him to work and till he finally does it. But he didn't have to do all that stuff, like you said. If he'd have went on TV and done that, it'd have been a waste of fucking bunch of movements and a waste of time. He needed to do exactly what he did. Lock up, blah, 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 go back and forth for a hot second, spear, jackknife, go home.
But it's also over. But I think it's that as well, like it's hiding the fact that, he wasn't the greatest worker, you know what I mean? Like he's probably even would admit to that. And the thing is, well, how do you hide that? Do what he does well, hit those couple of power moves, do the all that sort of shit, get the pop. He got over. He didn't need to be an amazing worker. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was an amazing performer, and there's a difference between worker and performer.
Yeah. And here he is now still, post 50 and still getting, coverage and getting matches and making money,
Absolutely.
So good for him.
But do you think,
and more power to him for that. That's good.
Do you think like when he does make these comebacks and he's going in there and he's, going over, the top stars in WWE, at the time, like Kevin Owens, Bray Wyatt, these wrestlers, do you think that not weakens, but do you think it sort of makes those performers look weaker? Because it's like, these are guys in their prime that are like doing the job to a guy who's like 50 something years old, who's wrestled 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that damages?
I think this, and I may be far off on this. I think this. I'm gonna make money. Okay. I'm in the wrestling business. I'm one of those guys you mentioned. I can always say no. I can say no. But do I want to be working there in 2 weeks? Because that's only one night. And yeah, maybe the way things are now with the internet and the network or Peacock or whatever, and millions of people is going to see it around the world or whatever. That's one fucking night. Maybe 2. I'm saying, no, not tonight, Bill. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do a program with him. Okay. I don't want to get beat tonight. Well, they'll give you that little 90-day notice. Good luck in your fucking future endeavors, How about this? Yeah, I'll do it. What do you want to do? Oh, you want to do the jackknife? You want to spear me? You want to jackknife and pin me? That's fucking 2 minutes work. My check's still coming. Billy, see you down the road, because he's going to go fucking do whatever he's going to do. Maybe stick around for a week or two, do it, whatever. But guess what? In 2 weeks or 90 days, I still got a fucking job. My check's been deposited or FedExing it to me, and I'm going out as one night. because I still got a program going on with this guy here. And so what? Someone coming to beat me. It was one fucking night. And guess what's real? The goddamn money they put in your account or they sent you the check. Because the other stuff's bullshit. I'll put you over. Pin me, pay me, motherfucker. That's all you got to do. Because me and Robbie's got a fucking program. And then here comes Piers. You want to come in one night and beat me? Sure, brother. What do you want to do? Well, I do this thing. I spear you, I jackknife you, I pin you, and I'm going to probably be here for a week or two, and then I'm going back to whatever. Have fun, because as soon as it's over, people is going to fucking forget. And they're going to say, oh, yeah, he's back in that program with the OG, and they're right back where they started off. Maybe you lose a little bit of steam, but then the people, you know, we're that click, 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 click. We're that fast fucking now. Everyone's attention span. Every once in a while, someone say, oh, man, didn't you get beat by Goldberg 2 weeks ago? Nowadays, I doubt them guys didn't hear that shit because they fucking moving so fast. Hey, you're in a program with so-and-so, you know, or I love what you're doing with Seth Rollins or whoever, you know what I'm saying? So that's my answer. Pin me, pay me. Just, you know, I'll do that job. How fucking hard is it?
Exactly.
You're going to fly me. You're going to fly me to a fucking major city. You're going to fucking feed me catering while I'm there. So you're going to feed me. Okay. And you're going to pay me to do something I fucking already love doing. Let me just get a little bit of blood here, Vince, or whoever. Let me sign it in contract in blood. Yeah, that's how simple it is. And if something like that comes up, I'd much rather go home saying, well, I still got a job. I'm still working this program with Robbie or Piers or Mark or whoever. That was just one night. And yeah, everyone saw or whatever, but you also got paid for it too. And you fed someone's ego. Big deal. You fed someone's ego. You fed what the company wanted. And I don't care if you're a fucking school teacher, a janitor, a street sweeper. If you take pride in what you're doing and try to do your best at it, at one time, oh, you slipped on a banana peeling, you fell, the fucking guy, you know, speared you, jackknife, you got pinned. You move on because you got the next day and you go back in that classroom and you look at those students or you look at that street sweeping job and you do your fucking absolute best because that's what you love doing. You know, I don't care if you're a plumber, fucking they're important people. Be the best fucking plumber you can be, carpet installer, whatever. It's just a job. So that one day you went to the job on a whiteboard or a booking sheet that just said, Bobby Blaze versus Goldberg. Wonder who's going to win that one. Well, fucking probably Goldberg. I wouldn't go to Vegas and run the line on it. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, yeah, well, probably Goldberg and go over. But as soon as that's over, Bobby's right back in a program with Mark or whoever.
Well, that's it. He was over. That's the thing. He was the draw.
Yeah.
You know, it was pretty simple. That's the reason why he went over those young guys. And it was also to build him up for Brock. You know what I mean? Who else was Brock going to go against besides Bill? You know what I mean? So, and that's exactly what happened. So
they're still making money.
Exactly. And he was so marketable. You know, that's the thing. For a guy that did so little, so marketable, you know, he fits in that Ultimate Warrior, Hogan category.
Yeah.
You know, they do so little, but they're just marketable.
But if you look at WWE's top guys, and I said this before, John Cena, Rock, you know, Hogan, you know, a majority, I think probably, you know, The Rock did probably more than, you know, Hogan and Cena in the ring. But like the moves were very, you know what I mean? Like they hit the same sort of moves. They were the most over baby faces. Even Austin's in-ring career had, by the time he had his hot run, you know, his neck injury and everything like that, he was wrestling a completely different style that he was doing.
He was just punching and kicking. He was just punching and kicking. He was actually a good worker, a real good worker in WCW. Really
he worked his ass off in WCW.
Yeah.
By the time he was doing that, it was punch, kick, drink a beer, fucking throw me another one.
Done, exactly.
And I'll get my check, you know.
Get paid well and get paid very, very well.
Yeah.
But it is that time of the show, ladies and gentlemen, which is Guess the Aussie Slang.
Oh, shit.
So you've been to Australia, Bobby. You've got a couple of Australian mates, so to speak, in Mark Mercedes and the original Grease. And I like to consider myself now a mate after our...
Absolutely. It's my pleasure, Piers. Now we're amigos.
That's it. Well, look, do you know much about any Australian slang?
I can't say that I do. I watch Aussie Man reviews. I love those. I actually watch them with my granddaughter. And I see him from time to time. I love his little podcast or YouTube channel he has, whatever. And I've seen people. I just saw Brad Pitt do this on his program, and he did pretty good, I guess. I'm no Brad Pitt in look wise or fucking probably Australian slang, but I'll give it my fucking best. And instead of saying amigo, I'll give it my best mate, so friend, whatever. We're good.
Sounds good. Okay, we'll get it started. Okay, so this one I'm going to start off with an easy one.
Okay,
and I'll put this word in a sentence, or I'll put it in a phrase. Barbie, mate. Let's come over to my joint and we'll have a Barbie.
Yeah, you're going to have a cookout or a barbecue at your place, right? We'll throw a shrimp on a Barbie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's correct. Okay, so next one is booze bus. Okay, I'm going to put this one. Oh, mate, I shit myself when I saw that booze bus up the road. Booze bus.
Oh, shit, I'm probably overthinking it, man. Especially if you shit yourself. Booze bus. Oh, man, booze bus. Could it be a bar or I want to say a chick or something, a hot chick out on the street or something, but I don't. That's it. Final answer.
No, so a booze bus is like a marked police car or like a setup on the side of the road where they're out to get like people to drink.
Oh, booze bust. I got you. Makes sense. I wouldn't have gotten it. I see where you're going with that, but I would not have got. That's just yeah.
All right. So I got another one. I got another one for you. All right. This is an interesting one. Budgie smuggler, and I'll put in a sentence. Oh, shit, my dad just came over to my house and he's by the pool and he's wearing his budgie smuggler.
Is it like a fucking Speedo or real tight swimming trunks?
It is. Yeah, it is. They call it a budgie smuggler because when you get out of the water, it looks like you anyway, you know what I'm saying. All right, so I've got a couple more. So this one is basically okay, so the word is rooted. That is rooted.
That is rooted. I'm sure that means something different here in Kentucky than it means in Australia. You're out getting rooted. If that's rooted, I'm gonna say that's probably fucked. That's just not a good thing.
Yeah, like it's fucked. It's dead, it's broken, tired. You can say like, hey man, I'm feeling rooted. I'm not gonna come out. You know what I mean? So, okay. So this one is going to be a multiple choice one. Okay. So there's going to be more multiple choice, but there's going to be multiple in this one. So the words are going to be servo, durries, bottle-o, slab, Maccas. And I'm going to put this in a sentence, and you tell me what I'm saying, right? Hey mate, before you come over to my place, swing past the servo, grab me a pack of durries, then go past the bottle-o, pick up a slab, and then maybe swing past Maccas.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to stop by and get you a pack of smokes, probably a pack of cigarettes in there.
What's the servo?
The server, that's a bar. I'm probably going to go to pick up some beer. The server, like at a counter at the 7-Eleven or something like that. That place that sells beer, I guess. The server.
Well, servo, durries, servo, and durries.
Cigarettes, yeah. Okay.
So cigarettes and a servo is like a service station, but the next one
service station,
like a petrol station.
I got you. Okay, yes.
Gas station. We say gas station.
Yeah, gas station. Well, okay, so gas station gets you a pack of smokes and what's the slab?
Go to the bottle-o, pick up a slab.
Okay, the bottle-o.
Yeah.
The slabs probably get some fucking beef or get some meat, bring some food there, unless it means picking up a broad, so go by the
So picking up a slab means go to, like, the bottle-o is like a liquor store, and a slab is what we call a carton of beer.
Oh, okay. No, I'd have been way off. I'd been down there looking for a fucking side of beef somewhere in the fucking Because I think we're going to put her on a fucking Barbie. So,
you know what Macca's is?
Mackers. So how did you say it again? Now we got the rest of it. Say it one more time. The sentence.
All right, can you go past the servo, pick up a packet of durries for us, then go to the bottle-o, get a slab, and then swing past Macca's before you come to my joint?
No, swing by Mackers. No, I'm swing by Mackers.
Mickey D's.
No. Oh, Mickey D's. Is that what it was? Mac. God damn you guys! Can I tell you one? I do know, and the reason I know this is because of Robbie. Okay, he turned me on to this, and it's way back when. It was a Friday. We had been working out. We'd done this. We'd done that. Everything. He's pretty much living here with my family. His family, and he goes, "Let's go. We're going to go to a steakhouse." He goes, "My shout," and we're like, "What the fuck?" I'm looking like, and my ex at the time, and we're looking at each other. What's he back here talking about? Yeah, let's go get a steak. And he goes, "My shout," and we're like, what you're shouting at? Who you're fucking mad at, or what's going on? And he's smarting us up to my treat. Like, oh, okay, my shout. So that's the only one.
Oh my God.
That I was thinking, I hope you throw my shout out there, because my man here smarted me up to that. My shout. But anyway,
I
man,
would
have never. That whole sentence was fuck for me. Mackers, so I like that. Okay.
But it's interesting, because the Australian, we use the word cunt like it's nothing, right?
Right.
Like to us, and I've got a lot of friends in the US, and I had one of my friends ring and say, "Hey, did you call Angel a good cunt?" And I'm like, "A good cunt? No, I called him a sick cunt." And in Australia, that's the highest form of flattery one male can give another one. If I see Robbie and go, "What's up, you sick cunt?" That's yeah, man, you're the man, bro, right? But other countries, they hear that, go, "What do you mean? I'm a diseased vagina?
Yeah.
What are you saying to me right now?"
They'll say, "Oh, you use the C word. Don't use the C word."
No.
Wow, that's interesting to know.
I'm gonna go one more, and this is gonna be a little bit blue. This one,
Okay.
but seeing what your sense of humor is like, I'm sure you can appreciate this one. Okay, so this one I'm gonna use is old fella, Franger, Sheila, Root. Okay, and I'm gonna put this in a sentence. Hey, Bobby, I just picked up this Sheila. I'm sorry. Let me start. Hey, Bobby, have you got a spare Franger for me, old fella? Because I just picked up this Sheila, and she's keen for a Root.
Yeah.
What am I
you
saying?
probably need a condom because you're gonna fuck this chick.
That's correct. That's correct.
I just probably say, fucking go bareback the bitch and get it over with.
Oh, wow. But you know what, guys, that has been the episode for tonight. Bobby Blaze, thank you so much for being on, and also for Robbie for being on as well, for sitting up late on a Friday evening to do this show. Both of you gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and I definitely want to do this again. And I think we need to do a part 2. I think there's so much more that we can talk about. But Bobby, where can everyone find you on social media and get in contact and support?
Yeah, so I have no Facebook. I'm just putting that out there. So if anyone thinks they're talking to Bobby Blaze on Facebook, they're not. I've not been in there for probably 7-8 years. I don't know. I am on Twitter at Bobby Blaze 744. That's where I'm most active at. Please hit me up there. And also, I'm recently back on Instagram for maybe the last 2 months. So I figured out Twitter pretty good. My Instagram, I'm really building it up. Again, I'm at Bobby Blaze 744. If you'd like to purchase one of my books, they're available on Amazon. Just go to the Amazon Australia, and it's you got Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boost with Travel. And I've got I kicked out on 2, The Education of a Wrestler. If you download it, it cost you $2 or $3 download. The book's about, I don't know what it'd be in Australia, but about $15, something like that. But again, I'd love to pick up the followers from this feed at Bobby Blaze 744 on Twitter and on Instagram. And man, it's just a pleasure to do the podcast. Robbie, it's good to see you again. Piers, it's good to meet you and been my pleasure. And now I've got several mates from Australia, and I would love to do another podcast with you guys. It's been fun. And well worth the time just having a few laughs with you guys. Appreciate it so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Bobby.
Thank you, Bobby. I think next time we should bring Mark Mercedes on. I reckon the four of us.
I was thinking that. When you said that, I was thinking, okay, once he does his, let's do a 4-way.
Absolutely.
That'd be good.
Let's do it. But guys, thank you again to Bobby and Robbie. Make sure you please follow the podcast, subscribe, like, share, all that good shit. Give us a 5-star review on all podcast platforms. Check out our sponsor, Sleeves.com. Use that promo code MWAPod to get a 10% discount. But guys, that's it. That's it for tonight. Make sure you tune in next week. Make sure you follow me on social media at Piers Austin on Twitter and at the Piers Austin on Instagram to keep up to date with all my show releases and what I've got coming up. But guys, we'll catch you again very, very soon. Take care. All the best. Peace.